Hello. So last night, Nadine Dorries is back in the news. She did a session with Boris's sister on LBC radio. I must say, I did actually listen to quite a bit of it, and I tried to phone in, but the gatekeepers weren't very interested in me. So apparently, she wasn't interested in talking about reality TV. Instead, she wanted to talk about the details of what was going to happen to the BBC after she privatises it, and the details of what's going to happen to Channel 4 in the same way. And then she had this extraordinary thing where she said that Lord Geidt's resignation, most people don't give a fig for that. Lord Geidt is the ethics advisor for the Prime Minister. And she also mocked him as Lord Geidt. I don't know quite why she was doing this. I don't get the I don't get the joke, and I find it particularly offensive when people start mocking other people's names. I remember when this was done to Humza Yousaf by a man called Coburn. And Coburn was really not a terribly nice person, who was given to rather savage and inappropriate humour at the best of times. And he was an MEP for UKIP, in fact, the only MEP in Scotland. And on a radio interview that he was doing with Humza, he was asked by the radio host, where is Humza, because Humza was late. And he said, "Oh, Humza Yousaf, or Abu Hamza, as I call him." Mr. Farage said, "Well, it was just a joke." I took a different view. I took the view that racism is demonstrable by its casual instance. People think they're making a joke, but in fact, they're making a racist comment. It's not about what the individual who says something intends. It's about how it impacts on the victim. And the same thing with Lord Geidt. I think Nadine Dorries's joke is inappropriate, but equally I think people do give a fig about whether Lord Geidt is in office or not. And she then went on about how much he was complaining about the amount of work he had to do. This is so belittling and unacceptable, really. A minister should not be belittling other people. I know that there is a habit in modern life, when you want to get rid of somebody, to belittle them and to indicate they're not doing their job, in which case they should have gone long ago. But you suddenly find out when it's inconvenient to pay you or whatever, that you've not been doing the job properly, or whatever the allegations are. I remember coming across this years and years ago when I was living in other countries, and it was generally used as a ruse not to pay at all. And there was one particular ruse, which was to get somebody to translate a book. And the publisher would say, "Well, we need a sample of your translation skill," and they would get you to translate a particular chapter. You translate that chapter, and then they say, "Well, it's not really up to the, it's not really, it doesn't pass muster." And then get someone else to translate the next chapter, and so on. And in that way, they would get the entire book. They'd put it out. You would find it on the shelves, and you'd say, "Well, that's my chapter." By which point, they would assume there's really no comeback, We're too desperate for work, so we're not going to take them to court or whatever, and we probably don't have the evidence. I think we are becoming rather cheap, and I think we can do better than that. And I think we should not see Nadine Dorries as a cheerleader for our country. I think we are better than that, and I don't think we are as cheap as that, and I don't think we should become as cheap as that. But there certainly is a movement towards that way of behaving. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. But I've said so much about Nadine Dorries is wrong. I was going to call in last night to the LBC program because I know Rachel anyway from of old, and as I say, the gatekeepers weren't very interested. I wanted to talk about reality TV, and I wanted specifically to ask Nadine Dorries about the allegations which which were made following her revelation to the DCMS that the Channel 4 programme that she was on, Tower Block of London, was fixed. And they've said this is simply untrue. And the lady who she claimed to have lunch with and who she claimed whose sons were now actors or were actors at the time, this is completely untrue. The lady who this apparently is has said that this is utter deceit. And it doesn't seem to have been reported widely in the media. And one wonders why that is. And yesterday there was an article criticising Boris's wife, and that was pulled from the Times. So I wonder what's going on here. Have we moved to a point where the government can control the press? I do hope not, because we don't have a very effective opposition, and a good government, needs to be held to account. If the opposition isn't doing that, then the press needs to do it. Simple.